Hi everyone. Today I played an amazing game which may possibly be my best game ever, even though there are also other games up there. And something which is very interesting is that this game was a London system. And if you think that the London system is a very boring opening, then you're up for a huge surprise and your viewpoint is definitely going to change a lot at the end of this video. So without further ado, let's go. So in this game I had the white pieces, and as you already know, every amazing game starts with a London. Yeah, that was sarcasm. Not all of them start with the London, but you definitely would probably think that this opening is very boring. No, it's not. Knight f6, I play e3, and now e6, and I played knight d2. So, I mean, it's a very huge subtlety why I play knight d2. I have sort of covered it in my video about London. Enough with the plugging, let's go with the game. Now, bishop to d6, and this tension is always very relevant in the London. And the one thing you should just not do is to take. This is the worst thing because they're going to take with the pawn and they're going to just push in the center and your center is completely destabilized and destroyed. However, there are other ways. For example, you could just continue with your development and say, okay, you can take it. This is fine, right? They would damage my pawn structure. No, they won't. It's just double pawns, but they're safe. And I have a good control over the e4 square. This is one way. But the most popular way is to play bishop to g3, simply sliding back. And if they take, I'm going to take with the h-pawn, opening my rook. Now, short castles, bishop to d3, and now knight d7. So perhaps the better plan was to play c5 and put a knight on the c6 square. Bird helps with the pawn to control the d4 square and put pressure on it. Let me just plug this into my laptop for a second. Yeah, let's continue. However, they played knight d7, and after the move knight f3, they played queen e7. So they were definitely onto something. They're trying to play the move e5, and if you let them play the move e5, they are completely fine. So what do? We play knight e5. We plug the knight onto that square. If you don't know, these two squares are the most important in the London. You have to gain control over these two. Now this line moving opens my queen, something you have to always be on the watch out for, and it can go to f4, f3, and h5 in the future possibly. Now c5 is played, c3, just opening the square for my bishop, which becomes very relevant after c4, and you play bishop c2. The move c4 is normally not really considered really good because I can just simply play e4 in the future because there is no more pressure on my center to worry about. Now, they played b5. You see, the evaluation just spiked. And this is the problem with many beginners. I mean, my opponent wasn't a beginner, but yeah, they played this move. So you may think that they are a beginner. And the thing is that it looks very natural. You gain space on the queen side, and now you're trying to continue with your plan, just looking for backup, looking to play b4. But this has a very huge flaw. And the way you actually find the flaw in these moves is that you see, okay, this position, right? What has changed after black's move? This pawn has moved 2 squares. No shit. No way. Anyways, this pawn takes control over these 2 squares, and it used to control these 2 squares, so he loses control over a6 and c6. Which one of them are relevant? c6, definitely. Knight to c6. Rightfully given an exclamation mark. Queen has to go here, and you just lose your bishop. The rook is also trapped. Yeah. Now the knight goes to b6, hitting my knight, and you will notice that I do not take the rook. I play knight e7 check, and I played g4. Here I spent a minute, even though my position was very good. Yeah, and for context, this was a rapid game, not a blitz game, so I would definitely not have spent a minute if it was blitz. Yeah, and now they play this move, knight to g8, very passive move, and also, for note, this idea of g4 is to play the move g5, dislodge knight, and go queen h5. So you see that the London is not so boring after all. Then I goes back, and now I take on c8, and then rather than just taking this rook which has been hanging, I play g5. So I limit the knight's movement back into the game, and I just prepare this idea with queen h5, although there are some defenses to that as well. Now, they play f5. This move I really liked, and I was sort of annoyed. I spent toward 3 minutes here. And yeah, here I can take en passant, which is essentially a rule where your pawn is, has been pushed 3 squares forward, and your opponent pushes their pawn 2 squares on the first time, and lands directly beside it. You can take like this, as if it went to 1 square. However, this can be only played on the first chance you have to take it. So it's now or never. It's literally now or never. And I also knew that if I take en passant, they're going to play it with the rook. and I will never be able to capture that rook. At the end, I just said, okay, let's just have this, because if I take the rook, this pawn is going to stand like a wedge, and this bishop's lost all hopes for life. Yeah, so I took en passant, rook takes, and I go bishop to e5. This is some bipolar stuff. You literally had this rook hanging for a couple of moves, and when the rook moves away, you go threatening the rook, yeah, of course, buddy. The rook goes to h6, and I'll play queen to g4, threatening checkmate in 1, in a scary turn of events. My opponent didn't even see that. Just kidding, he saw that, and hit my queen. Now I had foreseen this, and my idea was to simply drop back with the queen. This maneuver, even though it sort of loses time, has given my queen access to this very vulnerable pawn. I can play my rook here, and I can put a lot of pressure. Now, the knight goes back, and I play bishop f4. So you notice that I do not trade this knight for this bishop. And yeah, let me just bring your attention to this damn knight. This knight is like the people who just take dopamine detox, and they're just completely disconnected with the world. And yeah, this is not a criticism or anything. It was just a joke. Yeah, don't get offended, anyone. Yeah, in 97, I play bishop f4, so I avoid a trade. And now the rook is very clumsy. I mean, kind of go to g6 because my bishop from 1,000 miles away is guarding that square. Now rook h5, and I play rook g1, queen f7, and guess what? I move my knight for the second time after some huge amount of time. Now the knight is going for the e5 square. Rook g8, knight e5, queen e8, and long castles. Very, very good logical. And my rook is finally entering the game. Yeah, I mean literally castles on the 25th move. That's exactly how we were taught chess, definitely. g5, and now I take like this. And if you decide to take, I mean, I will just counterattack your queen, and at the end of the line, there are, a lot of simplifications, and I will be ahead in all of them. So after knight takes c7, they take queen takes, and I play bishop e5. This pin will kill black. It will. They play rook h6, and I mean, these types of positions is the ones which really, annoy you the most, because it just does not seem like you have a way through. How can you break through this thing? Right? Everything seems to be defended, but you have a resource, a very nice one, pawn to h4. And yeah, it's guarded twice, but neither pawn can take, because neither piece can take, rather. If the pawn takes, I'm going to deliver checkmate on g8. If the rook takes, I'm simply going to take your knight. So you have to push, and I play f3, and you again cannot take, because the rook is hanging on g8. So you play rook g6, and now I take the pawn. Now neither the knight nor the rook can take again, because of the pin. And now queen here, and I play g5. You see how I just push the pawns, and that move h4 really is very important. If you do not find that, you just probably are going to be stuck. So whenever you're like getting every single piece into the game, right? I mean, this rook is not involved yet, but you have to find a way for that to be in the game. You use your pawns. Now, let's go a few moves. Let's go later a few moves. And you may notice that this rook is hanging, right? I didn't at the time. Yeah, that's crazy. They played a6. A waiting move, I played rook f1, bringing my final piece into the game. Rook here, and now h5, rook g7, and takes. You see, beautiful. Complete domination. The queen goes to f7, and play h6. What the heck is this? Come on. The total domination of the position. The king goes to g8. And now notice this. I take with the pawn, not with the bishop. You would say, no, double pawns, I don't like this. No, you should like it, because I now open the h file for pressure against this pawn. And yeah, this is going to just kill you. Queen h5 here, and bishop takes, and the move. Very, very silent killer. Queen to h2. No matter what you do, checkmate will come 2 moves later. You can do your best. You can, for example, play e5, which is the best move, freeing up the square for runaway. Then I will take the pawn. If you trade queens, I will promote, and I'll checkmate at the same time. And if you do anything else, I will just simply play the move g6. For example, let me just show you this. a5, g6 is literally checkmate. It's a beautiful look at this. Like, how this construction event took place. Like, have you ever seen something like this? I bet you haven't. Yeah, that was it. Thanks for watching this far. I hope you enjoyed this video and perhaps learned something from it. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you later.